welcome back. So today I have a video for you on the new Colourpop single eyeshadows. I was so excited when I heard that these were launching because I love their other formula of their eyeshadow, so I couldn't wait to try these. So if you would like to see swatches and my review of these new eyeshadows, then just keep watching. Alright, so let's start out with the kind of quads that they came out with. They came out with low key and high maintenance. So inside of these, it comes with kind of like a palette, and it has four eyeshadows inside of it, and they are removable. So this one is, I think, high maintenance. I looked online and it looks like this is what it was, but there is no name anywhere other than this part of the packaging, which most people aren't going to keep. And on the back is where the names of all the shades are, which again, most people aren't going to keep. So it just looks like this, and then on the inside it has the four shades, and then there's nothing on the back, there's nothing down here, and even on these eyeshadows there unfortunately aren't any names on the bottom of these either. So I do wish that they had put names on these, especially since these are removable. I feel like maybe they should have put the names on the bottoms, or like even on the packaging somewhere also, so that if you forget which palette this is called, it's different. And when I was looking online, the eyeshadows for these quads weren't even in the same order as mine were, so I was very confused on which one this was. I think this one is high maintenance, but I'm not 100% sure. But other than that, the colors are absolutely stunning. I just dug my nail into this one, which totally sucks, but the colors are really stunning, and I do love the formula. So the formula is very creamy, but it's also very powdery. So you know those eyeshadows that when you like dip your brush and like a bunch of powder falls from them, that's the kind of pigmentation, or that's the type of formula that this is. But you can see it right here. Here is the first swatch. It is a gorgeous golden shade that is right here. And this color is called Just in Time, and you can see that it is swatched beautifully on your finger, and then when you put it onto your hand, it swatches beautifully as well. I'm not sure if it's picking up too much on camera, but it's gorgeous. Next up, we have this really nice coppery shade, and it is called High Strung. This one is also powdery, but it is very, very pigmented, and you can feel how creamy it is when you are blending your finger in it. This one is definitely creamier than this one. This one is more powdery, and then once you swatch it on yourself, it is very, very pigmented. Like, holy balls, this is pigmented. So next up in this palette, we have the two matte shades. This one is more of a burgundy color, and you can see that it does have, once again, a powdery thing. You can see it like falling from the palette. But nonetheless, it's still a gorgeous color, and it has great pigmentation. As you can see, that was just one swipe. So really great pigmentation for these eyeshadows. I just wish they weren't super, super powdery. And then this last one we have here is kind of a dark brown, but it has a little bit of like a little kind of maroon inside it, so it's super gorgeous, and all these colors would go so well together, which is why I'm sure they put them together. And once again, super, super pigmented, and they're just so gorgeous. Next up, we have the Low Key palette. This one is more of my kind of palette. It is very orangey toned. So this first one we have is Take It Slow. Once again, great pigmentation. I'm not gonna say that every time because it all has great pigmentation. You can see it right here, and I'm just gonna swatch it right here for ya. Next up is this beautiful orange shade, and it's called IOU. This one is definitely more powdery. So the matte ones tend, oh, just a chunk just fell off. The matte ones seem to be more powdery than the shimmery ones. Next up is this kind of mustardy shade. So that one, I don't know if you can see very well just because it's kind of close to my skin tone. So this color actually reminds me a lot of the Peach Smoothie or Beaches and Cream from Makeup Geek. It's a really pretty shade. Last one is this kind of reddish, kind of burnt orange color. So there was 3 matte shades in this palette. This one is really, really powdery. And then we have this swatch right here. So once again, gorgeous, gorgeous colors. I love the colors that they put into these little palettes. I think they do a great job complementing one another. So I highly recommend these palettes if you don't want to like try to figure out which ones you should get from like the 20 of them that they have. So these ones are really, really stunning, and I also love these. I think the colors that they put in these two palettes do a great job complementing one another. I think they both look so great. You could use this palette all in one look, or you could use this palette all in one look. I think they did a great job pairing all of these colors together for these palettes, and I definitely recommend them, and these are going for $18. Alright, next up I have the 25 single eyeshadows. I am going to go through these, their names, and some swatches. So once again, I'm not going to tell you about the pigmentation on all of them, just because I feel like I've already mentioned how the shimmery ones are and how the matte ones are. So I'm just going to go through these, and I'm going to swatch them and tell you their name. So here are the 25 single eyeshadows. I love these shadows. So I did actually use these on my eyes today. I used this color right here, this brown one, which is Note to Self. I used this one right here, which is You Know the Drill. And then underneath my lower lash line, I used this beautiful shade right here, which is called Stay Golden. So they do have a really good pigmentation. I love this Stay Golden shade underneath my lower lash line. I just think it looks so cool. I was gonna use one of these blue shades, but I decided to go for this cool cranberry color. So let's jump into the shade names and swatches. So first up we have this shade right here called Hear Me Out. This is a matte nude shade, kind of on the warmer side of the spectrum. Next up we have the color Firefly. This one is also a matte. It is a nude color as well, but just a little bit more cool toned. Next up we have the color Locked and Loaded. This is also a matte. It is more yellow toned nude than the other matte nudes. Next up we have the color Let Me Explain. This one is a shimmer, and it is a nudie kind of champagne shimmer. It is super pretty. Next up we have the color Wake Up Call. This one is a really nice transition color. It is on the warmer side. I feel like it has a little bit of red undertone in it, I think, or maybe pinky undertone, but it is a gorgeous shade. This one is matte. Next up we have the color Bel Air. This one is also a matte. It is more on the brown side than the pink side like the other one was. This one is more brown, has kind of like a yellowy undertone to it. Super gorgeous for transition shades as well. Next up we have the color Made to Last. This is another matte shade. It is kind of with like a purpley undertone, but it's still brown. Super gorgeous for transition colors as well. Next up we have the color Paper Tiger. This is like one of those mustardy baby puke kind of shades. It is matte. It is gorgeous. I love this color. Next up we have this pink shimmery color. It's kind of champagne-y with like hints of pink in it, and this shade is called Liar Liar. Next up we have the color Save It for Later. This is a gorgeous golden shimmery shade, but it's not like an orangey golden. It's like the perfect shade of gold. Next up we have the color You Know the Drill. Unfortunately mine broke while coming to me, but it is a gorgeous bronzy golden color as well, just a little bit lighter than the Save It for Later color. Next up we have Note to Self. This is one of my favorite colors from the launch. This one is a really beautiful warm brown shade. It is matte. Next up we have the color Come and Get It. This is a really pretty shimmery shade. You can see it is kind of pinky and then it's kind of goldeny. It depends what light you're looking at it. It's really pretty. And then the last one in this row is called Wait For It. This is a beautiful coral matte shade. Moving on to my third row, I have the color Making Moves. This one is a little bit more corally as well, but it is a little bit darker than the Wait For It shade. Next up, we have the color Top Notch. This is another really warm toned brown shade, but a little bit deeper than all of the other ones. Next up we have the color Popular Demand. This one is another brown shade, but it has more reddish undertones than the other ones, and this one is matte as well. Next up we have the color Stay Golden. This is the shade that is underneath my lower lash line. This one is super gorgeous. It's a cranberry shade and it is matte. Next up we have the color Take the Lead. This one is kind of like an army green color, but has some gray in it also. So it's kind of like greenish grayish kind of color, and it is matte. Next up we have the color Cloud 9. This is the darkest brown shade that they launched. It is super gorgeous and it is more of a gray brown than a warm toned brown, and it is matte. Last for this row, we have Goody Two Shoes. This is a gorgeous, 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 kind of like greeny, bluish, grayish, shimmery color. It is absolutely stunning. And in the last row, we have the color Silver Lining. This is a kind of muted purpley gray color. Absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to make some looks for this. And it is a matte. Next up, we have this royal blue. It is called Lost and Found. Oh my god, it is absolutely stunning and has amazing pigmentation. Next up, we have the color Piece of Cake. This one is so beautiful as well. This is the one I almost put underneath my lower lash line, but I decided to use the Take the Lead, or which one is this? Stay Golden. But yeah, this one is so pretty and has amazing pigmentation as well. The last one here is called Backseat, which is a greenish shimmery shade. Alright, so these eyeshadows each go for $5, which I think is an absolutely amazing price. I think the Anastasia single eyeshadows go for like $12 or $14, so these are very comparable. I would say these are just a little bit more powdery than the Anastasia ones, but these have such amazing, great payoff that these are 100% worth it. You saw on the swatches that these had just beautiful color payoff, and they last on the eyes because I've had these on since like 6 this morning, since I did my makeup at 6 and I got home from school, and now I'm filming this video. I didn't have this underneath my lower lash line, but I had all my top stuff on, and I didn't touch up my top lid at all with the eyeshadows. So these stay on a really long time, and I am really actually shocked at how long they stay on. Usually when I get home from school, like, you know, it's starting to look a little rough, but I actually think it still looks really good on my eyelids, so I'm really happy with the way that it still looks. So I definitely would recommend these eyeshadows. I will leave the links for them down below. I don't have a coupon code or anything, but I highly recommend these. Let me know down below which colors were your favorite, and let me know which ones you're thinking of picking up. Thank you so much for watching. I love all of you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!